Golfers, today's all about the position to avoid in the downswing. In delivery, we do not want this toe pointing up or behind us as we approach the golf ball. Let me explain why. So one of the biggest faults I see with amateur golfers is the club face is too open in the downswing. Now when the club face gets open in the downswing, you've got to square it up somehow. Now what we see with amateur golfers is two things. One, they drag the club across the ball to start the ball more left to allow for the club face being open, or the rate of closure with the forearms and wrists gets very excessive, so they either get massively scoopy and lots of rotation in his wrists and lots of throwaway with these hands and arms, that you get basically huge blocks, because if the club's here and trying to square it up, and if you try and put lag into it, you get this kind of move, but trying to square it up, you get this kind of throwing action and excessive throwing action. We do want some throw, let's get back to that in a minute. But basically, when the club face is so open, it creates such a wide range in shots directionally. Okay, what we're going to talk about is trying to get the club in a stronger position so we get much better consistency with direction, and we get less, let's call it exaggerated body moves to try and square the club up. It's a much calmer, more passive release is what we're looking for. And it particularly suits the better players in this world, but it also helps all of you to get the club in a stronger position on the way down. So what we're talking about in Pacifics is when the club is toe up, in order to square it up, you have to rotate the club to be more toe up again over here. Now that's a lot of rotation. Now we do want rotation in the shaft, has to happen. But what we're going to try and do is get this club face with the toe more parallel to the spine. And then from there, as we go through the golf ball, there's more, again, if we shaft lean it from there, for example, we're just going to de-loft the club. But that's the only thing that will be inconsistent with this move. Is if I change the amount of shaft lean, I change the amount of loft. She could get one that goes a lot further and lower than one that goes a lot higher and shorter. That's the only issue with this particular more passive, more closed look. But let's not call it closed, let's call it square. The toe parallel to the spine here is a square position. If the toe was moving more down, for most amateur golfers, that would still be a good thing. But then, again, if they get a lot of lag from there, they would start to hit the ball a long way. And they might find that they get inconsistencies in distance. When the toe's up and we're squaring it up this way, you'll tend to get inconsistencies in direction. Lots of blocks, lots of hooks, in theory. Again, if the plane's over here and the toe's up, God, that's a different problem altogether. You're going to get a lot of slices and a lot of high weak shots. So what we want, ideal world, is as the club comes down, the club to be pointing down to the ground. This device I've got on here, see how that ball's pointing down to the ground versus horizontally, so more vertically if you like. And then from there, as we go through the golf ball, the shaft is still leaning forward, we're still rotating our body, but the release becomes a little bit more extending as we rotate. There's still rotation, but there's more extension. Whereas over here, we have to rotate and get the wrist working that way. Both can work. Both have pluses and minuses. For me, most golfers slice the ball. Let's talk about that with amateur golfers. So the stronger we get the club face, the better they're going to play. With good players, when they get the face open here, they tend to hit huge off-the-planet right blocks. That's what you see. The body's trying to open up so fast and so quick to try and square that face up. It creates a lot of issues. So if we can get the face more closed here, turn, handle forward with rotation and the handle working up and in, we tend to get a more passive release this way as opposed to a huge rotation. We do not want, though, let's put this in the terms and conditions, I do not want a flap that would end up with the hands being behind the ball at contact. It's got to be, the extension happens, it's happening, so ideal world from the flexion position here, the rate of flexion is probably reducing and the extension happens around here. So we definitely want to feel that we get the face closed and then extend into this fall through position. A bit like that frisbee move we've talked about in other videos of mine. So if you stick something on your shaft like a tee, practice getting that tee pointing to the ground in the takeaway, practice getting that tee pointing to the ground in that delivery position, and then from there, practice with the tee pointing a little bit more up in the air as you go through the golf ball. So as we hit the golf ball, tee to the ground, tee up in the air. And that one was a beautifully struck, lovely straight shot. And that's certainly how I would certainly feel it initially. Breaking the swing down a little bit and then put that into your fuller swing. Let me show you how to do that. So if we were going to take that to the golf course, rehearsal swing, hands low, T-peg to the ground, release more up. I'm also going to share with you another drill in a minute to control that release. So make sure you keep watching for that. Reset that club, take my setup, little rehearsal. As straight as a die. Great, great feeling shot, great control on the ball, and that's exactly what I want to do. Now let me share with you a drill you can do with a wedge that's going to help feel this release we want. So this is one of my favorite drills to get people controlling the release better if the release is too excessive. And this is a drill that Pete Cowen uses a lot with his elite golfers, and he'll also, from what I'm told, have a half-color ball to show the side spin on the ball as you're doing this. But basically what we want to do is go right hand only, trail hand only, hand on your belly, and feel that release. Work more palm up as opposed to palm down. And we want to feel, obviously, ideally from what I'm talking about, palm to the ground, palm up. And we want to be able to hit 50-yard, 40-yard shots initially, but build it up to 80 yards if you can with a wedge, nice and slowly, just trying to feel we have this release pattern in our golf shots. And we're looking for really neutral ball flight there, hardly any side spin, and obviously good contact. Now the coordination may take you a few shots to get used to it, but if you master this, you will get a more passive release, which most golfers would need, particularly good players. And for everyone else and every normal golfer, if you like, we want the club face to be as strong as we can here. And the stronger we get it there, the more passive the release will get. And the less frantic the release will get, so the more consistent we can become